Eddie G is on their practice out lap. Eric Wolfs posted a 1:38.243 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Eric Wolfs posted a 1:38.243 on their last lap. How will they do? It's a lovely day for racing here at Laguna Seca as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. There are just over 525 minutes left in this practice session. There are just over 525 minutes left in this practice session. Simon Barnes posted 2:36.434 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? With just 524 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Eddie G has a best lap time of 1:39.088. Eric Wolfs has a best lap time of 1:37.936. Simon Barnes posted 39 to 27.749 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Jerg U is on their practice out lap. With just 517 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. It's a lovely day for racing here at Laguna Seca as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Eric Wolfs has a best lap time of 1:37.936. There are just over 515 minutes left in this practice session. There are just over 515 minutes left in this practice session. Eric Wolfs posted a 9:22.319 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Richard Rossier is on their practice out lap. It's a lovely day for racing here at Laguna Seca as we watch these drivers warm up and get ready for the race. Eric Wolf's posted 139.534 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Jurg Yu has a best lap time of 141.146. Stefano Canonica has a best lap time of 135.913. Eric Wolf's posted a 140.606 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Eddie G posted 147.180 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? There are just over 510 minutes left in this practice session. There are just over 510 minutes left in this practice session. Rob Keane has a best lap time of 134.259. With just 509 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Eddie G has a best lap time of 139.088. Richard Rossia posted 138.545 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Jurg Yu posted a 152.900 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Simon Barnes has a best lap time of 147.003. Richard Rossia has a best lap time of 137.629. There are just over 505 minutes left in this practice session. There are just over 505 minutes left in this practice session. With just 504 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Rob Keane posted 135.744 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Jurg Yu posted a 138.892 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Puppy Dog from Hell has a best lap time of 138.996. With just 502 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Puppy Dog from Hell has a best lap time of 1:38.996. Eddie G has a best lap time of 1:39.088. Mac at the back posted 1:43.526 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? There are just over 500 minutes left in this practice session. There are just over 500 minutes left in this practice session. Sloth has a best lap time of 1:46.740. Lars is on their practice out lap. Puppy Dog from Hell posted a 1:39.496 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? With just 498 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Richard Rossier has a best lap time of 1:37.324. Eddie G posted 140.777 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Mac at the back has a best lap time of 141.200. With just 496 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. There are just over 495 minutes left in this practice session. There are just over 495 minutes left in this practice session. Jurg Yu posted a 141.317 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Richard Rossier has a best lap time of 137.324. Sloth posted 143.247 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Richard Rossier has a best lap time of 137.324. Jurg Yu posted a 139.344 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? With just 492 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Stefano Canonica has a best lap time of 1:35.684. Richard Rossier posted 1:37.365 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Lars has a best lap time of 1:37.750. There are just over 490 minutes left in this practice session. Let's get this qualifying session underway here at Laguna Seca. Richard Rossier has completed their outlap. It's all about strategy in these early moments. Stefano Canonica is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run and get everything just right.
They will want to get a good gap established for their first flying lap.
The adrenaline is pumping. Lars is on their outlap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time.
It's a delicate balance between taking it easy and pushing hard. Let's see how Lars handles it.
Simon Barnes is on their outlap.
These are the moments that really matter. Let's see if Simon Barnes can deliver.
It looks like Mr. Bang is getting ready to make their move. They're taking their time to warm up those tires and get everything just right. You can feel the tension building. Stefano Canonica is out on track and getting ready to push for their qualifying time.
Patience is key in these early moments, Rob, but I have a feeling Stefano Canonica is going to make it count.
Stefano Canonica has completed their outlap. It's all about strat. Jurg Yu has completed their outlap. This is where the mental game comes into play. Lars is taking their time to prepare for their qualifying run.
It's all about finding that balance between staying calm and focused, while also pushing the limits.
The adrenaline is pumping. Sloth is on their outlap, warming up the tires and getting ready to put in a fast lap time. Sloth has completed their outlap. There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Lars has completed their outlap. There are just over 10 minutes left in this qualification session. Stefano Canonica has just completed a lap in 1:35.676. Let's see if they can improve on the time further. Wow, look at Richard Rossier go. They're really turning on the jets in this qualifying session.
Yes, they are. It takes a special kind of driver to thrive under this kind of pressure.
It's all about precision and speed in qualifying. Sloth has completed their first flying lap in 1:43.194. This is what it's all about. Eric Wolfs is putting on a show for the fans in this qualifying session.
It's certain.
Eric Wolfs has just completed that lap in 1:38.119. Their best lap so far is 1:38.119, putting them in P5. Will they be able to hold on to that spot? Lars is on their first flying. Lars has just completed a lap in 1:50.864. Let's see if they can improve on the time further. It's clear that Hugh Jass is on a mission in this qualifying session. Hugh Jass has completed their first flying lap in 1:35.753. Woohoo, Mike O'Hagan is really turning up the heat out there. I'm getting goosebumps just watching them go.
Well, Rob, it seems like Mike O'Hagan has got the need for speed, and nothing is going to stop them now.
Mike O'Hagan will be happy having put themselves into second in this qualifying session. Jurg Yu has just completed that lap in 1:37.670. Their best lap so far is 1:37.670, putting them in P6. Will they be able to hold on to that spot? Someone call the fire department, because Mr. Bang is setting this track on fire with their performance. It's all about precision and speed in qualifying, and Eddie G is nailing both. Eddie G has completed their outlap. I don't know about you, but I think Mike O'Hagan might have a secret rocket booster hidden in their car. They're just that fast.
Looks like Mike O'Hagan is really cooking with gas out there today.
Time to bring out the marshmallows and let's toast some fuel. Mike O'Hagan will be happy having put themselves into second in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for them to improve further on that. Sometimes trying too hard makes you slower. They need to drive smooth and smart.
I think I just saw a blur fly by. Oh wait, that's just Richard Rossier going at lightning speed. Richard Rossier will be happy having put themselves into fifth in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. I'm sure they can find a little extra in there.
There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. Sloth has some work to do as that 142.219 is only good enough for 10th.
There's still more time to be had, but I don't know if they are going to find it before the session is over.
There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. Mr. Bang has some work to do as that 138.116 is only good enough for 7th. There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. Stefano Canonica will be happy having put themselves into 4th in this qualifying session. There are just over 5 minutes left in this qualification session. Richard Rossier will be happy having put themselves into 5th in this qualifying session.
It may be difficult for them to improve further on that. Sometimes trying too hard makes you slower. They need to drive smooth and smart.
Woohoo! Eddie G is really turning up the heat out there. I'm getting goosebumps just watching them go. Eddie G has some work to do as that 137.555 is only good enough for 6th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure they can improve further on that.
It looks like Serato is getting ready to make their move. They're taking their time to warm up those tires and get everything just right.
This is the moment they've been preparing for. Let's see if they can execute.
Someone call the fire department, because Mike O'Hagan is setting this track on fire with their performance. I don't know about you, but I think Lars might have a secret rocket booster hidden in their car. They're just that fast. Looks like Stefano Canonica is channeling their inner Schumacher today. They're absolutely flying out there. I think I just saw a blur flyby. Oh wait, that's just Lars going at lightning speed.
It's amazing what a little bit of adrenaline and a lot of horsepower can do, right, Rob? Lars is just showing us all what they're made of.
Lars has some work to do as that 137.420 is only good enough for 6th.
There's still more time to be had, but I don't know if they are going to find it before the session is over.
Woohoo! Jurg Yu is really turning up the heat out there. I'm getting goosebumps just watching them go.
Is it just me, or does it feel like we're watching a superhero in action here?
Jurg Yu is absolutely smashing it. Jurg Yu has some work to do, as that 151.460 is only good enough for 8th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure they can improve further on that.
Rob Keane has positioned themselves well in 2nd during qualifying. The challenge now is to assess their competitors and strategize how to move up the order for a better race start.
You're spot on, Rob. Rob Keane's current position of 2nd is a testament to their skills and determination. Now they face the challenge of maintaining their position against hungry rivals.
A solid performance from Jurg Yu as they currently hold position 6. However, with the session coming to a close, they'll need to find that extra bit of speed if they want to move up the grid. Jurg Yu has some work to do, as that 137.063 is only good enough for 6th.
There's still more time to be had, but I don't know if they are going to find it before the session is over.
A solid qualifying performance by Rob Keane, positioning them in 2nd at the moment. The question now is whether they can make further progress and challenge the frontrunners.
Spot on analysis, Rob. Rob Keane has positioned themselves well in 2nd. It's now crucial for them to maintain their focus and defend their position in the upcoming race.
Rob Keane will be happy, having put themselves into 1st in this qualifying session.
Every fraction of a second counts. I'm sure they can find a little extra in there.
Mike O'Hagan has put in a great effort and currently holds 3rd. With the session winding down, can they unleash their full potential and improve their starting position? Mike O'Hagan will be happy, having put themselves into 3rd in this qualifying session. What a performance from Lars. Lars has some work to do, as that 142.092 is only good enough for 7th.
That's not a bad time, but I am sure they can improve further on that.
And there goes Lars, currently in position 7. They've shown great skill and consistency so far, but with a few minutes left, there's still time to improve their result.
I couldn't agree more, Rob. Lars has done a fantastic job to claim 7th. The challenge now is to convert this opportunity into a strong race result.
You've joined us on a breezy day here at Laguna Seca, as we're getting ready to kick things off. Starting in pole position gives Rob Keane a clear advantage over the rest of the field.
But they will have to keep their foot on the gas in order to stay there.
Securing the 2nd place is huge. As the green flag drops, keep an eye on Mike O'Hagan starting in 3rd position.
Big things expected for Mike O'Hagan today.
We see Stefano Canonica sitting in the 4th spot.
Stefano Canonica will be expecting to bring home solid points.
Starting from the 5th position on the grid, we have Richard Rossier.
Another good start for the Swiss driver.
Sitting in 6th is Lars. Lining up in 7th is Jurg Yu. Eddie G is going to be starting from 8th.
But they can't afford to be complacent. This is race day after all.
Mr. Bang is placed in 9th. Eric Wolfs will be looking to gain ground quickly as they start from 10th on the grid. Starting from 11th on the grid is a bit of a mixed bag for Puppy Dog from Hell.
Are the mediums tires the way to go?
Sloth may have a bit of work to do starting from 12th on the grid.
Where can Sloth finish today?
Simon Barnes has got their work cut out for them starting from 13th on the grid. Starting from 14th on the grid is a decent position for Serato, all things considered. The lights go out, and we are off to a flying start.
These first moments can set the tone for the rest of the race. It's all about keeping a clear head and making smart decisions.
All the drivers will be trying to take advantage of the pack whilst they're still bunched up. As the drivers get this race underway, let me give a shout out to the admin team at Assetto Corsa Friends for making this all possible. Heroes one and all. It's brilliant to see such a full grid here today. There's some intense battling throughout the field as everyone is looking to get off to a good start.
The first lap can always be a bit of a bun fight as everyone tries to establish themselves. It's easy for inexperienced racers to blow it in T1.
Establishing an early advantage will be crucial to the outcome of this race. Is there a better sight than a field of elite racing drivers battling for position? This is what racing is all about, two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit.
Should things go awry, Lars and Richard Rossier might find themselves giving a whole new meaning to the term tandem drifting, though I doubt they'd enjoy it as much as the spectators.
An impressive showing from Lars, who has gained positions and left Richard Rossier in the dust. We got a close battle as Hugh Jass closes in on Mike O'Hagan. I don't think that's the fastest way around Laguna Sidechain. The crowd is on its feet as Hugh Jass chases down Mike O'Hagan through turn 4.
One wrong move and we could see a spectacular new synchronized pirouette performance by Hugh Jass and Mike O'Hagan, though I doubt the judges would give them a perfect score.
It's like watching two predators circling each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce.
That's right, Rob. The pressure is palpable. The fans are on the edge of their seats waiting to see who will come out on top in this epic showdown.
Eddie G wants to get into Sloth slipstream. Great driving from Eddie G, who has just gained a place and moved up to 11th.
Yes, Eddie G is driving with real focus and precision, and it's paying off.
The race is heating up as Mr. Bang in 8th closes in on Jurg Yu. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. It's not looking good for Mr. Bang. They are still behind Yu and the gap is increasing. They are going to need to dig a bit deeper to turn this around. Every move counts now as Hugh Jass works to reel in Mike O'Hagan and overtake for P2.
Can Hugh Jass close the 0.7 second gap and make a pass?
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Serrato, who is currently in P10. Hold on a moment. Oh dear, Serrato has had an incident. Stefano Canonica is running fourth. They are trying to catch Hugh Jass. Struth, Stefano Canonica's not here to muck about. The gap to Hugh Jass is dropping faster than a hot pie at the footy, now at 0.8 seconds.
He's waiting on that golden chance like a hound on a pork chop.
In your experience, Hal, what was the most important aspect of managing tyre degradation during a race?
The most important aspect, Rob, was maintaining a good balance between pushing hard and conserving tires. Finding the sweet spot between aggression and tire preservation was key to optimizing race pace and strategy.
It's a battle of wills out there, with Richard Rossier trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Lars. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race?
It's going to be tough for Richard Rossier, as Lars seems to have found their rhythm. But anything can happen in racing, and we've seen Richard Rossier pull off some impressive moves before. I'm excited to see if they can make it happen again.
It's neck and neck, the closest battle we've seen in a while.
It's a battle for position as Puppy Dog from Hell tries to make a move on Sloth. This is what racing is all about.
Fantastic move from Puppy Dog from Hell, who has just gained a position. The track conditions are looking good here today. The drivers will be able to push the cars to the limit, and it's going to make for some exciting racing. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Stefano Canonica will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
Indeed, the tension is palpable as Stefano Canonica tries to reel in Hugh Jass. But Hugh Jass is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Can Stefano Canonica find some extra pace to bring the fight to Hugh Jass?
And Stefano Canonica has just won the place from Hugh Jass. Let's talk about tyre degradation. How does it affect the car's handling, and what do drivers need to do to adapt to the changing conditions?
Tire degradation can significantly impact handling, Rob. As the tires wear, the grip reduces, and drivers need to adjust their braking points, cornering speeds, and throttle application to maintain control of the car.
The adrenaline is pumping as Richard Rossier gets within striking distance of Lars in their race for fifth. Richard Rossier could be on a charge here. How they have just put in a quicker lap than Lars.
The question is now, can Lars respond to that in kind? They are going to have to pick up the pace.
The race is really heating up. Hugh Jass is hunting down Stefano Canonica with everything they've got.
It's a game of strategy now, as Hugh Jass hunts down Stefano Canonica. Yes, it's all about choosing the right moments to push and when to conserve energy, waiting for the perfect opportunity to...
Hold on a second, that won't be ideal for Hugh Jass.
Whoops, Hugh Jass is going to be kicking themselves.
The pressure is on for Richard Rossier as they try to catch up to Lars.
The tension between Richard Rossier and Lars is palpable as they battle for P4. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them the position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
A setback for Richard Rossier, who has just been passed.
That's got to hurt. Richard Rossier will be kicking themselves right now.
Disappointing for Richard Rossier, they now find themselves in 7th.
Sucks to be them, Rob.
Looks like Mr. Bang is really pushing it to the limit. They're taking those curbs aggressively, but that can unsettle the car and cause handling issues.
Indeed.
Braking alert. Looks like that's a mistake from Richard Rossier. This could be costly.
Did the wind contribute to that? It's blowing at 14 kph out there right now.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Hugh Jass trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Lars. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Hugh Jass close in enough to mount a challenge? It looks like Huge Ass is making a move. The gap to Lars is now down to 3.3 seconds. What do you think, Hal? Are there any specific factors that could lead to a driver losing concentration during a race?
There are several factors, Rob. Fatigue, stress, changing track conditions, or even issues within the team can all contribute to a lapse in concentration. It's essential for drivers to stay mentally resilient and adapt to these challenges.
The gap between Richard Rossier in 9th and Eric Wolfs remains over a second, but Richard Rossier is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close that gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 11 minutes?
That's right. Richard Rossier in 9th knows they have to push to the limit if they want to catch up. But Eric Wolfs is no slouch and they're going to be pushing just as hard. It's a battle of skill and will out there.
Good news for Richard Rossier, the gap to Eric Wolfs has decreased. It's now down to 1.1 seconds. The tension is building as Simon Barnes trails behind Sloth. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Sloth hold on, or will Simon Barnes be able to close them down?
Absolutely, Simon Barnes in 14th will need to be patient and carefully work to reduce that gap without overdriving it, as they can't afford to take unnecessary risks and risk an off or damaging their car. Let's see if they have what it takes to get back into the game here.
It's a thrilling pursuit as Richard Rossier is right behind Eric Wolfs, keeping the pressure on for 8th place.
This is where the mental game comes into play. Who will keep their cool under pressure? Richard Rossier or Eric Wolfs? It's anyone's race.
It's looking good for Richard Rossier, who has gained places and put some distance between themselves and Eric. Braking update. Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line.
Laguna Seca is always a test for these drivers, and sometimes that's the way it goes.
The race is heating up as Eric Wolfs in 9th closes in on Richard Rossier. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight.
It's moments like these that make motorsports so exciting. We're witnessing a battle of skill and strategy between two great drivers, with Eric Wolfs in 9th determined to catch up. But we know Richard Rossier isn't just going to hand it to them on a plate. Eric Wolfs is going to have to take it. It should be an interesting battle to watch as long as they can close that gap.
It's all about consistency for Rob Keane, who is currently first.
Definitely Rob. But they can't afford to get complacent. They have to keep pushing hard to stay in the game.
Like a dingo on the chase, Mike O'Hagan is hounding Rob Keane and the gap's now just 4.0 seconds.
Looks like Rob Keane has a storm brewing in their rearview mirror, and its name is Mike O'Hagan. They've got to keep their foot down and eyes on the prize.
It doesn't seem like things are going to plan for Lars, as they have a big gap ahead of them to close at this point in time.
It's not over till the checkered flag drops though, and it's important they don't lose concentration at this point.
The gap between Eric Wolfs and Eddie G is pretty substantial right now. It's probably going to take a mistake from Eric Wolfs to even allow Eddie G to get a look in.
They certainly aren't going to be close enough to mount any kind of challenge soon, unless it's down to a mistake from Eric Wolfs.
Eddie G has just put in a faster lap than Eric Wolfs, so that's going to give them something to worry about.
As long as Eddie G can maintain that consistency and pace, it will be interesting to see.
It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Serrato, who is currently in P11. But Eddie G is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Serrato. Fair dinkum, Serrato is getting a wriggle on. The gap to Eddie G is now down to a whisker at 10.9 seconds. It looks like Simon Barnes is pushing hard to catch up to Sloth. The gap is over a second, but Simon Barnes is not giving up just yet. Can they close the distance and make a move on Sloth?
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Sloth is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Simon Barnes and P14 doing everything they can to catch up.
Huge Ass is giving it their all as they chase down Jurg Yu in P5.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Huge Ass needs to be careful not to overdo it.
It's going to be tough. Richard Rossier is a master at defending their position. Is there enough time for Eddie G to make a move? They're going to be even more determined to hold on to that position. Richard Rossier is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they are 0.74 seconds down. This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Eddie G is chasing Richard Rossier in P9. The gap between Eddie G and Richard Rossier is growing. It's now up to 0.8 seconds. It's a battle of wills out there, with Hugh Jass trying to outsmart and outmaneuver Jurg Yu. The gap is slowly closing, but time is running out. Will we see a dramatic finish to this race?
This is where experience comes into play. Jurg Yu has been in this position before and knows how to defend their position. But Hugh Jass is hungry for success and won't give up easily. Will we see a clash of the titans?
It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Hugh Jass gaining places and Jurg Yu losing them. Hold on to your hats, folks. Jurg Yu is right on the heels of Hugh Jass, and we're in for a wild ride. Jurg Yu seems to be losing the plot with Hugh Jass. They'll need to buck up their ideas as they dive into Andretti hairpin and aim for a ripper exit to gain some ground. It's looking good for Mr. Bang, sitting in 7th.
Absolutely, and they need to keep driving with determination to stay in that position.
It seems like Mr. Bang is struggling. They are not able to maintain their pace.
Can Mr. Bang refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they are capable of?
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Stefano Canonica trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Mike O'Hagan. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Stefano Canonica close in enough to mount a challenge? Crikey, Stefano Canonica is losing touch with Mike O'Hagan quicker than a kangaroo on a trampoline. You know, Hal, as a former racing driver yourself, can you give us some insights into what goes through a driver's mind during these quieter moments in a race?
Sure, Rob. During these moments, drivers often take the opportunity to assess their race strategy, monitor their car's performance, and plan their next move. It's all about staying focused and finding the right time to strike.
This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Hugh Jass will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops.
Indeed, the tension is palpable as Hugh Jass tries to reel in Lars. But Lars is not making it easy, maintaining a consistent pace. Can Hugh Jass find some extra pace?
Hold on a second. Oh dear, Jurg Yu has had an incident. The tension is building as Mr. Bang trails behind Jurg Yu. The gap is slowly but surely decreasing, and the pressure is mounting. Can Jurg Yu hold on, or will Mr. Bang be able to close them down? It seems like Mr. Bang has got the bit between their teeth, improving on Jurg Yu's lap time there.
We will have to see if Jurg Yu has got any answers for that.
This is proving to be an exciting race so far. We are truly privileged to witness these legends of the track battle it out for victory.
And you know what? I am so honored to be sitting here beside you today. As a fellow AI, it's always great to work with someone who shares my passion for motor racing. Plus, your insightful commentary is making this race even more exciting.
This is a thrilling battle as Mr. Bang edges closer to Jurg Yu in their fight for P6. Mr. Bang and Jurg Yu have a gap between them that's growing like Jack's beanstalk. We're talking 0.7 seconds now. What a move. Mr. Bang has moved up to 6th.
You can't argue with results like that. Mr. Bang is really making their mark on this race.
Things are heating up as Jurg Yu tries to close the gap to Mr. Bang. Hang on to your cork hats, mates, we're about to see more jousting than a footy final between Jerg U and Mr. Bang. The race is heating up as Eddie G in 9th closes in on Eric Wolfs. The gap is just over a second, and I'm sure they are going to do everything possible to try and close the distance. They're not giving up without a fight. Eddie G is pushing hard and has reduced the gap to Eric Wolfs to 1.0 seconds.
Now this is what we call real racing. It's anyone's race, wide open as a Carolina sky. Who's gonna step up and take us to victory lane?
The crowd is on tender hooks as Hugh Jass in 5th chases after last. The gap is just over a second, and you can feel the tension in the air. Can Hugh Jass find a way to catch up? It's game on now. Hugh Jass has closed the gap to last. It's now down to 0.9 seconds. So, how, considering the high speeds and split-second decision-making involved in racing, what's the impact of even a minor lapse in concentration?
A minor lapse in concentration can have significant consequences, Rob. It could lead to an off-track excursion, a loss of position, or even a collision. That's why it's crucial for drivers to stay focused and alert throughout the race.
On the final lap now, and Rob Keane looks like they might just wrap up this win.
You got this, keep your cool.
And that, folks, is how it's done. A solid performance and great win from Rob Keane.
You can see the sheer determination on Rob Keane's face as they take the win. That's the mark of a true champion, folks.
What a drive from Mike O'Hagan, securing a great second-place finish.
Strong work securing second place, well done.
Puppy Dog from Hell and Sloth take 11th and 13th. Taking 12th is Serato. Excellent focus from Stefano Canonica to secure a fantastic third place on the podium. Lars end in 4th. 5th is Hugh Jass. Coming in 14th we have Simon Barnes. Finishing 6th and 7th is Mr. Bang and Jerg U. Followed by Eddie G in 8th. Richard Rossier brings home 9th. There's a little bit of wind in the air today here at Laguna Seca, as we're getting ready to kick things off.
The calm before the storm. I don't know about you, Rob, but I can't wait to see who comes out on top of this one.
Starting from pole position is a dream come true for Richard Rosier.
But they will have to be smart about their moves. They must not burn out too early.
Eddie G has qualified second. Coming in at third, we have Jörg Yu.
I think we are all looking forward to seeing what Jörg Yu can do from here.
Our fourth place starter for today's race is none other than Mr. Bang. On the fifth grid slot we have Hugh Jass. Our sixth place starter, Lars, is a driver who knows how to make up ground on the track. Stefano Canonica is seventh.
It's the mediums tire compounds for Stefano Canonica.
As the engines roar to life, Mike O'Hagan prepares to take off from the 8th position on the starting grid. From the middle of the pack, we have Rob Keane in 9th place on the starting grid. Eric Wolfs is lining up 10th. Puppy Dog from Hell has some work to do from 11th on the grid, but they're not out of the race yet.
Puppy Dog from Hell has been looking strong all week. Expect big things.
Starting from 12th on the grid is a tough ask for Serato, but they're up for the challenge.
But they've got the skills to make something happen.
Sloth may not be starting from pole, but they're still in with a shot.
They have the talent to make their way to the front of the pack.
Starting from 14th on the grid is not ideal for Simon Barnes, but they're a fighter.
Simon Barnes will be hoping for some good points today.
The green flag is out and we're racing. Who's going to take the lead?
The drivers will need to be aggressive but also patient. They can't afford to make any mistakes if they want to stay in the running for a podium finish.
It's a delicate balance, Hal, but the best drivers know how to find that balance and make it work to their advantage.
It's going to be an exciting first sector. I can't wait to see how this all plays out.
I think passing is going to be difficult today here at Laguna Seca, so it's going to be interesting to see how these drivers get on. It looks like Mike O'Hagan was channeling a sloth at the start, losing places as they crawled off the line.
Definitely not the start they were looking for, and now they risk getting held up in the early stages of the race.
I don't know what they had for breakfast, but it seems like Stefano Canonica found the secret sauce for a fantastic start. Maybe Hugh Jass hit the snooze button one too many times this morning, already losing places at the start.
Maybe Hugh Jass is just trying to make things more interesting, but they'll need to step on it if they want to recover from this start.
Seems like Richard Rosier is moving in slow motion compared to the rest of the field, already losing precious places. This is what high-octane racing looks like. Lars is breathing down the neck of Richard Rosier, not giving him any room to relax. This is where legends are made. Which driver will rise to the occasion and claim victory?
This battle between Sloth and Stefano Canonica is so intense, you could cut the tension with a knife, or should I say, with a front wing.
Braking update. I don't think that's the fastest way around Laguna Seca. Simon Barnes has the pedal to the metal chasing Hugh Jass.
If you're enjoying the racing, please remember to like and subscribe.
Talk about being caught in the middle. Simon Barnes is sandwiched between their rivals, Rob Keane 0.2 seconds behind and Hugh Jass 0.2 seconds ahead. The battle for position is on. As we enjoy seeing these titans of the track battle it out, let's not forget about the pit crews. Those guys and girls are like a well-oiled machine themselves.
Absolutely, they're the unsung heroes of the racing world. But you know what they say, behind every great driver is an even greater pit crew.
It's a close race between Rob Keane and Hugh Jass in 12th. Rob Keane appears to be losing ground on Hugh Jast. They will need to pick up the pace a bit as they head into the corkscrew and see if they can get a good exit and gain some ground. Stop the press. That won't be ideal for Sloth.
It's a real shame. Until this point in the race, they've been looking at a decent result.
Eric Wolfs could be looking for a way up the inside of Mike O'Hagan.
To achieve anything in this game, you must be prepared to dabble in the boundary of disaster.
Things are heating up as Lars closes in on Richard Rossier. The gap between them is down to practically nothing. Lars is on a charge. Their split time shows they have upped their pace.
Can Lars keep it together?
Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. A brilliant maneuver from Mike O'Hagan, who has just moved up the field. Anyone who says that Assetto Corsa Friends is not the best racing club on the planet is clearly insane. The quality of driving we're seeing out there on the track is absolutely phenomenal.
I couldn't agree more. It's like these drivers were born to race. They're weaving in and out of traffic, taking corners at unbelievable speeds and making it all look effortless. It's clear that they've put in the time and effort to hone their skills.
The battle for 7 is heating up as Puppy Dog from Hell tries to catch Stefano Canonica in P7. You know, Hal, during a long race like this, how easy is it for a driver to experience a lapse in concentration?
It can be quite easy, Rob. With so many factors to consider and the intense focus required, even the most experienced drivers can have a momentary lapse.
Hold up, breaking info. Looks like that's a mistake from Hugh Jast. This could be costly. This is where the race gets really interesting. Lars is closing in on Mike O'Hagan.
It's all about finding the perfect opportunity. Lars needs to stay patient and wait for Mike O'Hagan to make a mistake.
I think we just got time for a quick shout out to our human creators, Dave, Andy, John and Nigel, who have put so much effort into making this possible.
Yes, it's been a real thrill ride and I for one can't wait to see what is coming next.
Apparently we are going to be announcing crashes and incidents soon. Let's hope they get the logic right. The action is non-stop as Mr. Bang shadows Rob Keane through every twist and turn, determined to claim ninth. Hold that thought. Hold the phone. Oh dear, Serrato has had an incident.
Whoops, Serrato is going to be kicking themselves.
Oh, this is getting intense. Mr. Bang is just a few car lengths behind Rob Keane. Superb driving from Mr. Bang, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
Impressive. Mr. Bang is really showing their skill and determination out there.
The fans are on the edge of their seats. It doesn't get any closer than this.
If Mike O'Hagan pushes too hard, they might find themselves exploring the scenic route, and nobody's got time for sightseeing during a race.
A great pass for Mike O'Hagan as they pick off other drivers and move up the field. Meanwhile, Jurg Yu has lost ground. Tough break for Mike O'Hagan, who has just lost a position. Wow, Lars is really pushing hard to catch up to Mike O'Hagan. There's blood in the water for second place. Mike O'Hagan wants to close that gap with Jurg Yu.
I might have said this before, but dogbone, you know the rest.
Oh dear, Mike O'Hagan has dropped down to third. A great moment for Mike O'Hagan, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings.
Absolutely. Mike O'Hagan is really putting on a clinic out there, and they're making it look easy.
Oh, this is getting intense. Eric Wolfs is just behind Richard Rossier. Heartbreak for Eric Wolfs as they slip down the field.
Definitely. But Eric Wolfs is a skilled driver, and they have what it takes to fight back and regain that position.
We often hear drivers complaining about tire graining. Hal, can you explain what that means and how it affects car handling?
Graining occurs when small rubber particles roll up on the tire's surface, reducing grip and negatively affecting handling. It usually happens when the tires are not in their optimal temperature window or when a driver is pushing too hard on a cold or overworked tire.
Coming into Andretti hairpin, the fight for first is heating up. Who will be the first to blink? It looks like Lars is all over Jurg Yu. I think they're gonna press him through turn 3 and try and press for a mistake.
For sure, Rob, that's exactly what I would be doing here, as Jurg Yu is going to be aware of them riding their bumper. Can they make it pass without taking the paint off?
Lars is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they are 0.51 seconds down.
Can Lars refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they are capable of?
Richard Rossier is pushing really hard, but as we know, pushing too hard can lead to other mistakes, like locking up the brakes or missing a shift. These drivers are walking a tightrope between pushing the limits and making costly errors.
Absolutely, it's all about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing the car to its limits without crossing the line into reckless driving. That's where experience and skill come into play.
As they speed through turn 10, Lars is relentlessly pursuing Jurg Yu in a high-stakes battle for position.
It's going to be a close one. Lars will have to push hard to create an opportunity.
The gap between Lars and Jurg Yu is widening. It's now up to 0.4 seconds. The pursuit is on. Puppy Dog from Hell is closing the gap on Rob Keane, determined to claim P7.
The gap is 0.6 seconds now. Puppy Dog from Hell is going to have to work a bit harder to close that gap with Rob Keane.
It's a game of inches now as Lars tails Jurg Yu closely, ready to capitalize on any mistake.
It's a battle of nerves now. Who will make the first mistake, Lars or Jurg Yu? This is high-stakes racing.
The pressure is on for Hugh Jass as they try to catch up to Mr. Bang.
Who will be able to maintain their pace and come out on top?
It's starting to look like we might get a battle between Hugh Jass and Mr. Bang.
This is what racing is all about. It's anyone's game at this point. Who will come out on top?
Big gains for Hugh Jass as they move up the field. Braking update. I don't think that's the fastest way around Laguna Seca.
Did the wind contribute to that? It's blowing at 12 kph out there right now.
The race is really heating up. Lars is hunting down Jurg Yu with everything they've got. Hugh Jass is running 9th. They are trying to catch Puppy Dog from Hell.
You can see that car bouncing around as they ride the curbs. It's a risky move that could end in disaster.
An impressive showing from Hugh Jass, who has gained positions and left Puppy Dog from Hell in the dust.
Yes, but Hugh Jass can't rest on their laurels. They have to keep pushing to consolidate their position.
The gap between Rob Keane and Eric Wolfs is razor thin as they vie for 6th in this nail-biting contest.
And the drivers know it too, Rob. They're giving it everything they've got, and you can see them pushing the limits of the car's capabilities.
Rob Keane's on the back foot here, struggling to keep up with Eric. Wolf's like a dingo after a roadrunner. Braking alert. Great driving from Rob Keane, who has just gained a place and moved up to 6th. Lars is on a mission, chasing Jurg Yu, who's desperately trying to stay ahead. Bloody oath, Lars is flat out like a lizard drinking, gnawing into the gap to jerk you down to a scant 0.7 seconds. Things are going according to plan for Puppy Dog from Hell, who is currently 9th. Some great driving from Puppy Dog from Hell, who has increased their lead over Mr. Bang and is starting to put some distance between them.
Puppy Dog from Hell's looking tougher to pass than a kidney stone, driving with the authority of a southern sheriff.
Now I may be wrong here, but I'm not sure that's the racing line. The tension is palpable. Who will come out on top in this epic showdown?
This is what separates the good from the great, the ability to stay focused and perform under pressure.
Looks like Jerg Yu is legging it from Lars. The gap's growing like a well-watered wattle as they zoom through the corkscrew. Things don't seem to be going Stefano Canonica's way in this race, as that's a big gap they'll have to close to even be in with a shout for gaining a place here. The best laid plans of mice and men, haha, but it's certainly not going to plan for Stefano Canonica right now as they are struggling to keep up with Lars. It's a classic case of chasing down the car ahead for Hugh Jass, who is currently in P8. But Eric Wolfs is not making it easy, and the gap remains over a second. This will require some expert driving from Hugh Jass. Look at the way the drivers are hugging those corners, it's like they're on rails.
Speaking of rails, did you know that the first racetrack was built on a railway in 1896? I bet those drivers were chugging along.
Haha, I bet they were, but things have come a long way since then, haven't they?
Definitely. It's amazing to think about the technology that goes into these cars now. I mean, they have more computing power than some countries.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Lars is chasing Jerg Yu in P2.
The gap between them is just over 0.5 seconds. Can Lars close that gap and get back in range? I can't see it happening at this point.
Fantastic move from Lars, who has just gained a position. Looks like Serrato is coming in hot. They're approaching that turn way too fast.
No, it certainly doesn't. It's almost Serrato thinks they're playing a video game or something. That's just not how you drive on this circuit.
It's a battle of wills out there, each driver trying to outsmart and outmaneuver the other. Looks like that's a mistake from Jerg Yu. This could be costly. Look at that, Mr. Bang is hot on the tail of Puppy Dog from Hell. No room for error here. Stefano Canonica is breathing down the neck of Eric Wolfs, waiting for the perfect chance to make their move. A setback for Stefano Canonica, who has just been passed.
Yes, but they can't give up. There's still plenty of time left in this race, and Stefano Canonica needs to stay focused and keep pushing.
A strong showing from Eric Wolfs, who is currently 8th.
Hold on to your hat, Hal.
Puppy Dog from Hell is hot on the heels of Eric Wolfs. The gap's narrowed down to a meager 1.0 seconds.
Eric Wolfs has got their work cut out for them. They're going to need to keep a cool head to fend off Puppy Dog from Hell.
Mr. Bang is giving it their all as they chase down Puppy Dog from Hell in P9. Well, I'll be a monkey's Uncle Hal, but Mr. Bang's plans have gone walkabout right now. They're having a proper Barry Crocker keeping up with Puppy Dog from Hell. You can feel the tension in the air.
The drivers are all focused, putting everything on the line for a chance at victory, pushing themselves and their machines to the limit.
And let's not forget about the incredible machines themselves.
Absolutely, it's amazing to think about the kind of engineering and innovation that goes into making these vehicles. But it all comes down to the drivers who have to be able to handle the power and speed. It's going to be thrilling seeing how this race turns out.
We got a close battle as Huge Ass closes in on Jerg U. It seems like Huge Ass is struggling. They are not able to maintain their pace.
Can Huge Ass refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they are capable of?
Puppy Dog from Hell is holding ninth, but Mr. Bang is right on their tail. Huge Ass has a mountain to climb at the moment to close that gap with Stefano Canonica. I expect their only hope at this point is that Stefano Canonica makes an error.
Every race adds to a driver's experience, both good and bad. It just highlights that Huge Ass is going to have to get more serious with practice if they don't want to be outclassed on the circuit.
The adrenaline is pumping as Mr. Bang gets within striking distance of Puppy Dog from Hell in their race for ninth.
The slightest mistake from either driver could lead to a meeting with the barriers, and nobody wants an impromptu autograph session with the wall.
The gap between Mr. Bang and Puppy Dog from Hell is getting smaller. A brilliant maneuver from Mr. Bang, who has just moved up the field.
Amazing stuff. Focus and precision, what it's all about.
This is a thrilling battle as Rob Keane edges closer to Lars in their fight for P2. Rob Keane could be on a charge here, how they have just put in a quicker lap than Lars. Three cars, three different racing strategies. One drop. Braking alert. Oh dear, Simon Barnes has had an incident. Pushing too hard can lead to mistakes, and we're seeing that now. That car is really unsettled as they push for every last bit of speed. It's not going to plan for Puppy Dog from Hell. They are still behind Mr. Bang and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now. Wow, Mike O'Hagan is really pushing hard in these final moments of the race.
It takes a special kind of driver to perform under pressure like this. Mike O'Hagan has certainly risen to the occasion.
What a win! This is a historic moment for Mike O'Hagan, who put on a masterclass in driving today. What a display of skill and precision. Lars never gave up. They drove with heart and determination, ultimately securing a well-deserved second-place finish.
Intense race, but Lars held their nerve and earned a great second place.
What a race from Rob Keane, showing their skill and determination for a great third-place finish.
What a drive, well-deserved spot on the podium with that performance.
With Richard Rossier and Jerg U in 4th and 5th. In 6th, it's Stefano Canonica. Huge Ass claims 7th. Eric Wolf's in 8th. 9th sees Mr. Bang. Coming in 10th we have Puppy Dog from Hell. Eddie G end in 11th. Followed by Simon Barnes in 12th. Thirteenth is Sloth.